Coming up on this week's Home Theater News Review podcast, we're going to catch up on some of the bigger news stories in the world of home theater over the last few weeks, including some news coming out of Denon and Marantz. Redbox has run out of cash. We're going to talk about that. NextLevel Acoustics wants you to experience what they're calling the color of sound. JBL, for better or for worse, depending on how you look at it, they have a new ad campaign that embraces cringe. The folks at Kaleidescape have had a huge July with a big-time surprise that's definitely going to please a lot of folks out there. We're also going to check in with Value Electronics and talk about the TV shootout that's going to happen in just about 10 days. And of course, we'll dig into some other industry news stories, check on movie sales, and a whole lot more. Today is July 24th, 2024. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic week. I had a wonderful weekend. Last Friday, took an afternoon hike with my wife. It was great. Then I got a chance to see one of my favorite bands live, and it was outdoors. It was just this beautiful night. The concert was amazing. I just absolutely loved it. Really set the tone for the weekend. And then we had a really nice Saturday and Sunday. But Sunday night, right around 9 o'clock, I felt this weird tickle and kind of sore roof of my mouth. And I was like, man, am I getting sick? And sure enough, when I woke up on Monday morning, I was sick as a dog. And I've spent the last 2 days in bed just watching reruns of Entourage and taking some seriously long naps. And, I know from the outside that probably sounds like a really good time, but not such a great time when you're feeling pretty down and out. But here I am. My voice is teetering on the edge of going out. I just was not able to record this on Monday or Tuesday because I just had no voice. So I'm hoping that I can make it over the next 25 minutes or so. I do have this cup of hot water with some ginger root shaved into it and some honey, which is really a delicious drink, but hoping that can keep my vocal cords going while I record this show. And now, before we start, I just want to hit pause for a moment and give you a quick update on the podcast itself. Coming into this year, I changed the cadence of how often the podcast was going to come out. I was hoping to have it land every Monday, but more realistically, I thought if I can get it out 3 times a month, that would be pretty good. And we held in there fairly well up until about a month ago, once I had vacation come along and then some other things have come along, and it's just kind of hindered my ability to get it out on Mondays. Just things like what just happened, getting sick, can push it back just a little bit. But I think what I'm going to do is just pull back on the reins just a little bit and try and make this an every other week show, at least in the near term, because there's some big stuff coming up. I mentioned the TV shootout that's happening in a couple weekends, and then just not too soon after that, we have Cedia, which is just a huge energy suck on my end. It's a big deal to cover that and get everything done right. So, I'm going to try my best to get these shows out there. I really like where HTNR is going. Those of you that have given me some positive feedback, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that there are folks out there that enjoy it. Not a lot of people like to talk about their podcast numbers, but I'll tell you, we're getting about 500 listens per show, which I think is pretty good for a new podcast, but not only a new podcast, but one that covers a rather niche topic area, which is, industry news and, talking about disc sales and things like that. So there are a few ways that you can support the show. Sharing it with some friends who are also into home theater, that can help spread the word. Leaving a review on Spotify or iTunes can definitely help us out in terms of their algorithm and how they push shows out to listeners. Even if it's a 1, 2, 3-star review, leaving some sort of review is really helpful. And the same thing goes for YouTube, where you can, subscribe, like, and share. All of those things are really important in terms of how YouTube pushes things like this podcast out there. So Really appreciate your support. And for those of you, who have been listening and enjoying the show, thank you so much for being a part of the HTNR family. It's really great to have you here. Okay, so you know that sound. That is us taking a little trip in the time machine. And unfortunately, it's not all that exciting on this episode. I didn't really spot anything on the tech front over the last few weeks that stood out to me, save for just one of the more amazing feats in human history, which is putting humans on the moon. That's right. July 21, 1969 is when Apollo 11 landed on the moon. And it's just mind blowing that we were able to pull that off. But back to home theater. We all know that July has been a great month for Hollywood to release summer blockbusters that earn big time money at the box office. And, two of my favorite movies, Wedding Crashers, which is just so rewatchable, and Die Hard, which has been a favorite movie of mine for a very long time. Those two movies don't even come close to sniffing a top 100 spot in terms of the highest single day earners in the month of July. So I found this list. 2 of the top 10 single-day best July earners are Harry Potter films. We have The Deathly Hallows Part 2. That lands at number 1 overall, earning $91 million in one day. That was a July day, of course. Then we have 2019's The Lion King. That has 3 of the top spots, earning some $192 million over 3 days. We also have 2 Batman films, The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Barbie holds the number 4 spot and appears on the top 100 list 7 other times. That's crazy. That movie did really well. And the top 10 is rounded out by Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, which made nearly $56 million on a single day. Now, what I thought was really notable, and I thought this was important because in my mind, the summer blockbuster was biggest probably back in the early 90s. And it turns out there is not one single movie in the top 100 of single day earners in the month of July that was operated prior to 2002. And the cutoff there is Austin Powers, a gold member, which raked in $25.6 million on July 27th, 2002. All right, back to the here and now. And before we dive into the news, I want to talk about something that I saw on X on Monday morning. And it comes from someone I follow there called HD Report. If you're on the X platform, I suggest you give them a follow. They have a lot of fun movie and home theater related content. But they had a post featuring a graded DVD copy of Twister that was up for auction on eBay for $50 grand. Basically, this is an unopened DVD. It's still in its cellophane wrap. And this company called IGS, it's a electronic multimedia grading company, had given it apparently a high score. So this had been put up for auction at $50,000. And that eventually led me down a rabbit hole of looking at high value movies for sale on eBay. And I actually couldn't find that Twister DVD. I'm not sure if it was a really old image or perhaps maybe the auction had ended and it had sold. But I did find, and this kind of blew my mind, a VHS copy of Top Gun with an asking price of $50K. That seller is called Collector Store Frontier. That's all one word if you want to go look them up. And, they have tons of graded media for sale with over 3,500 sales to their credit. And I took some time looking through the shop's sales history, and believe it or not, there are actually sales of graded VHS tapes that trip over the $1,000 mark. We're talking about titles like Big Trouble in Little China, and even things like WWF Royal Rumble 1992 Coliseum Big Box VHS. For whatever reason, somebody paid over $1,000 for that particular title. Also, several different video game titles were in there. But I am super interested in learning more about this realm of collectors. It's really not anything that I know just a sliver about. So if you're listening to this and if this is something you're into, please reach out to me at todd@avnirvana.com. I would love to hear from you. Now to our first story, and one of the more exciting news stories of this year. Kaleidescape has released a new entry-level player that's actually its most technologically advanced player to date. If you're not familiar with Kaleidescape, it's basically a download service that allows you to buy and download movies and concerts and TV series in the best possible quality. A lot of cases, we're talking about better than disc quality. You have to have a Kaleidescape branded server at your home to store movies, and you need a separate piece of Kaleidescape equipment called a player to decode and play back your movies. And there's lots of neat little benefits to Kaleidescape. For example, I can buy and download a full 4K HDR movie with lossless Dolby Atmos to my Kaleidescape system in just 10 minutes. In fact, I had one clock in at 9 minutes this past weekend. You also have access to 14,000 titles, with most movies becoming available weeks, if not months, before their disc releases. Now, the big rub on Kscape has been the cost of entry. Up until last week, you were looking at around $9,000 for a player and the smallest amount of storage, which I believe is around a 10 terabyte drive. So right there, that makes the system a non-starter for a lot of would-be buyers. But with its latest release, they're calling the Strato V player, you can pay a few dollars shy of $4,000, and you get a player with enough built-in storage for 10 4K lossless movies. You also gain access to Dolby Vision compatibility, and that's a first for Kaleidescape, which to date has only offered HDR10. So the cost for entry has been cut by nearly 60%, and the Strato V player can be used in a bigger Kaleidescape system as your needs or your budget grows. And current owners of Kscape systems hooked up to a Dolby Vision capable TV can buy a Strato V player and take advantage of Dolby Vision. Of course, in order to enjoy Dolby Vision, you need a Dolby Vision encoded film. And as of launch day, Kaleidescape said they had roughly 100 films available, and that will grow in the weeks and months ahead as they update movies that are in their library. And much like other updates to films you already own, switching to a Dolby Vision version is absolutely free if you've already purchased the movie. Now, this is a big move for Kaleidescape and a fun moment for buyers that were feeling uneasy about dropping, just a minimum of $9K to get in before they've even purchased a movie. And I look at this new Kaleidescape Strato V player with a really positive light. If you're a buyer with a solid gigabit internet connection and a network that can support it, this is a really cool product because you can store 10 movies on site. You can still take advantage of a lot of the features like the script files. You can write your own script files for the movies that are on location on your server there. But you can also quickly swap out those movies with other movies that you've purchased. Like I said, recently I've been experiencing downloads as fast as 9 to 10 minutes, which is lightning fast, not that much time, if you're looking to save some money. We have a whole lot more information about this story on our homepage, and our Travis Ballstead also created a first look video over on YouTube. You can find a link to that at the end of the story on our homepage, so definitely go over and check it out. Ask questions and we'll answer them there. Speaking of movies, a few weeks ago, Redbox declared bankruptcy. And to be honest, I'm surprised they held out as long as they did. According to the judge overseeing the case, and I quote, "There is no means to continue to pay employees, pay any bills, otherwise finance this case. It is hopelessly insolvent." And, that pretty much translates to it's over. At its peak, Redbox had nearly 44,000 rental locations, earning almost $2 billion annually. But as of late last year, that number had dropped to 28,000 locations. It was purchased by Chicken Soup for the Entertainment Soul in May of 2022 for $375 million. And from the sounds of things, the bankruptcy judge believes the company was negligently mishandled. The folks at JBL have released 2 new series of gear aimed squarely at Gen Z buyers. The new modern audio receiver line starts at $400 and tops out at $1,600, while an extensive line of speakers called Stage 2, offering tower, bookshelf, center channel, subwoofer, and Atmos module models cost no more than $800 a pair. And by my calculations, you could land a nice 5.1 system for as little as $1,750. The gear is styled in a way that will fit in what I would call kind of that IKEA furniture look, and it's designed to be easy to use. So not only is it easy on the wallet, but it's made to appeal to Gen Z buyers. Now, to help the launch, JBL has created 4 new ads that have whipped up quite the conversation. I called them cringy. Others think they are a stroke of genius. Whatever they are, they're definitely capturing a lot of attention. I'll drop a link to our article, which contains those videos, down in the show notes. Take a moment to go over and give them a watch. Let us know what you think of these particular ads. I'm really curious to see what more folks think. I mean, it is definitely polarizing stuff. Speaking of simple to use, SVS has a new accessory designed to bring subwoofer into a 2-channel system that lacks a line level subwoofer output. It's called the SoundPath Speaker Level Subwoofer Adapter. In order to use something like this, you'll need SVS's bi-wire speaker cable, which basically plugs into the back of your AVR. It hooks up to one of the speaker posts, and then it splits the outgoing signal. So in one direction, you hook it up to one of your main loudspeakers, and the other goes to this speaker level subwoofer adapter. From that adapter, you run a single RCA cable to a subwoofer. Once you make some tweaks to the sub's low pass filter and gain, you'll have yourself a fully functioning subwoofer in addition to your system speakers. Pretty cool, especially for those of you out there who are holding on to some legacy gear that do not have that pretty standard subwoofer output. This one is priced right at $79.99, and it's just a bit larger than a deck of cards, so it's also easy to integrate into your system. Links are right down in the description below. Speaking of small pieces of gear, Denon's Home Amp is a powerful new 2-channel streaming amplifier that carries 100 watts per channel and a chassis that measures about 3.5 inches high and 8.5 inches wide. So it's definitely small, easy to hide in your media console or wherever you may have it. You can dump audio to the Home Amp from a TV using eARC HDMI or an optical connection. You can also feed it using USB, Denon's HEOS system, Bluetooth, AirPlay 2, Ethernet, all of the usual suspects when it comes to Denon gear. This one looks great. It's stylish and should, as I said, hide really easily. And it's priced right too at $799. Also, for those of you that own more recent Denon and Marantz receivers, you'll be pleased to know that a new firmware update has dropped. And it has some meat to it. It unlocks support for Tidal Connect, which allows you to stream Tidal content over Wi-Fi from your Tidal app. It also opens support for Deezer Hi-Fi high-res FLAC files supported via the HEOS app. And then there's a host of other fixes, including a speaker configuration error that was occurring with Aura 3D, a Spotify error that was halting playback after all songs in a queue had been played, and quite a few others. You can see the full firmware changelog over at support.denon.com. I'll drop a link to make this easy for you right down in the description. Our friends at NextLevel Acoustics, they are one of AV Nirvana's valued sponsors, have launched a new service called Color of Sound. It allows integrators to customize Samsung frame TV kits and NextLevel Acoustics Fusion frame soundbars with any Benjamin Moore paint color in matte or flat finishes. They say that a semi-gloss option will be available really soon. NextLevel says the service addresses a hole in the AV market for Samsung frame TV bezel colors, which aren't available in palettes beyond what it calls standard color options. The Fusion Frame soundbars are NextLevel's thinnest soundbars available using a proprietary flush mount system. They only have 1.75 inches of exposed depth, while the Fusion Frame Slim soundbar, designed to match the ultra-thin Samsung Frame TV, has only 1.25 inches of depth. Both are available in a variety of designer grilled fabrics and driver layout configurations. In just 2 weeks, the 20th annual Value Electronics TV Shootout will take place. It's returning from a run at various Manhattan, New York locations to Robert Zone's shop in Scarsdale. This year, judges will vote on 2 different categories: OLED TVs and mini LED TVs, with models coming from manufacturers like LG, Samsung, and Sony. Zone says Hisense declined to participate in the contest, though we might see a mini LED model from TCL make an appearance. We'll know more about that soon, hopefully. Because brands like Panasonic aren't sold in North America, they're being left off the list. We'll be there in person providing coverage of the event. That is happening actually on August 3rd, so stay tuned for more on that front. Until then, you can find information on all of the TVs included in an article that's posted on our forum's homepage at avnirvana.com, and that article includes a recent video shot at Value Electronics. So if you'd like to get to know Robert and Wendy Zone a little bit better, head over there and give it a watch. And in our last bit of recent home theater news, Epson recently acknowledged a settlement with the projector brand 4Movie. The settlement stems from a lawsuit filed for what Epson is calling deceptive advertising practices and how 4Movie reports brightness specifications on several projectors. As a result, 4Movie will correct previously misstated white brightness specifications worldwide for its 4Movie Theater and 4Movie P1 laser models. According to Epson, 4Movie is dropping its popular 4Movie Theater ultra short throw projector from 2800 lumens to 1800 lumens, and that is quite the hefty chunk of lumens to remove from that specification. 4Movie has promised to use an internationally recognized brightness standard called ISO 21118 going forward. 4Movie is the 8th manufacturer to settle a similar suit. All right, it's time to check in with AV Nirvana's disc critic extraordinaire, Michael Scott, and he has been a very busy man over the last few weeks. He's published Blu-ray reviews of Who's That Girl?, UHF, which I believe is the Weird Al Yankovic story, Diary of the Dead, the Steelbook edition, The Last Stop in Yuma County, and the horror flick Tarot. He has also reviewed 4K versions of the films Angel Has Fallen, that's the Steelbook version, The Boy and the Heron, and the popular Tom Hanks film called Captain Phillips. Nothing earth-shattering to report on the new disc release front. We did have The Fall Guy drop yesterday in both theatrical and extended cuts on 4K. Risky Business. It looks like the entire Jaws catalog and Back to Black, which is the Amy Winehouse story, also land on 4K disc. And on July 26th, you can buy Talking Heads Stop Making Sense on Blu-ray audio. This is not the movie, just the audio version of the album. If you'd like to see the movie version, you'll have to stream it or buy it in 4K on Kaleidescape. Speaking of Kaleidescape, we've had quite a few new releases to talk about here. Bad Boys Ride or Die is out. The animated children's film If is also available. Kill, which is still in theaters, that has hit Kaleidescape's movie store and is available for purchase, as has Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, The Idea of You, The Watchers, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Boneyard. All of those can be purchased and downloaded right now in 4K. You can also pre-order Twisters, though we don't have a good guess as to when that one will become available for download. Also, worth noting that Anchorman, Twister, that's the original Twister, Captain Phillips, Prince's 1980s hit Purple Rain, and We Were Soldiers. Those are all now available as 4K. So, if you own any of those in HD, you can pay a small fee and upgrade to the 4K version. Head over to Kaleidescape.com for more information. Now on to the disc sales chart, my favorite part of the show. How much of the pie is DVD sales eating? And you know what? This month is actually pretty good for Blu-ray and 4K UHD disc. DVD sales are accounting for about 46% of all sales. That's way down from where it was the last time we checked in, when it was up to about 70%. Blu-ray is sitting solid at 34.5%, and 4K UHD is back up to kind of where we expected it to be this year, sitting right around 20%. In terms of specific movies, Civil War is sitting at number one in terms of overall disc sellers, and rightly so. It's a really good movie, and it looks and sounds absolutely amazing. So that is definitely one you want to pick up in 4K. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is at number 2. Abigail, number 3. The Boy and the Heron is at number 4. And Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, is sitting at number 5. And I do not see our friend Oppenheimer on the top 20 list. Now, in terms of the top selling 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs over the same time period, that's ending at 7/13/2024, Civil War is right at the top there. Twister is at number 2. The Boy and the Heron is at number 3. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is at number 4. And Boy Kills World is at number 5. And what I like about that top 5 is we have 4 titles that are new to the charts. These are new release movies. They've only been out for about a week. And then Ghostbusters Frozen Empire had only been out for a week. So we got a lot of fresh blood going on there. And as a little bit of a shout out, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is sitting at number 6. That was previously, it looks like, number 3. We missed that week though. Definitely one that you should be checking out. I thought this was actually kind of interesting to look at over at Media Play News. They have a list of the top selling 4K discs year to date, and that is through June 2024, and sitting at number 1. This is really no big surprise to me. Dune Part 2, such a big release. That one is a solid movie. Of course, very popular also, and that is the top selling disc year to date. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is number 2. Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes 3. Oppenheimer is at number 4. All the rest, Godzilla, Wonka, Trolls band together, that one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Migration, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, and the Marvels, those round out the top 10. Nothing really all that surprising there. Now moving on to the streaming charts, where we find Twister is sitting at number 1 for streaming movies. That's according to JustWatch.com. We also have Abigail at number 5. If at number 4, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire at number 3, and Hillbilly Elegy, that is a Netflix-only movie, that is sitting at number 2. Of these, I've not watched Ghostbusters yet, believe it or not. I've had it purchased and downloaded since it was launched on Kaleidescape, just have not gotten around to watching that. I don't know exactly why. I think I'm just a little bored with the franchise, but I will eventually have to give that one a spin, as we like to say. I did see Abigail. I don't know, a 2.5 out of 5 on that one. Twister I've seen many times. That's kind of a classic Saturday afternoon movie. Have not seen If or Hillbilly Elegy, so it looks like I have my work cut out for me. In terms of streaming shows, The Boys is sitting at number 1. The Bear, which is a Hulu special, that one is really popular right now. That is at number 2. Presumed Innocent, that is an Apple TV Plus show, is at number 3. House of the Dragon, available on Max, is sitting at 4. And Those About to Die, that is a Peacock show, is at number 5. And if you haven't been paying attention, the new season of Cobra Kai is out on Netflix. That, according to Netflix, tops their streaming charts. So that one probably is going to crack our overall top 5 in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for more on that. All All right, and now it's time for our disc deals of the week. We have 3 brand new films here: Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and Civil War. All 3 in 4K. They are all about half off right now at Amazon for $24 each. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, I thought, was a really fun watch, and it looked really good too. Fun film. Civil War, I don't know if I would call that a fun film, but it is really beautiful, very easy on the eyes. That is definitely one to also check out. And $24, I mean, that's a pretty good deal for those in 4K. If you're interested in buying any of those films and would like to support our show, you can find links right down in the description. We might receive a small commission off any sales at no extra cost to you. And for our gear deal of the week, this is more like gear deals of the week. Denon refurbished gear. It's just such a great deal. I know I talked about this before. I helped a friend about a month ago pick out a new receiver, and he ended up buying a refurbished Denon product. And what's nice about these, you get free shipping, and you also get a really great discount. Some of these are receivers that they have are up to $300 off list. The AVR X3800H, that one is selling for $1,299, so $400 off there. Normally that lists at $1,699. So we talked about Denon's program before. They say that they get these into their own shop. They do what they need to do to get them out looking basically brand new. They're repackaged, sold with warranty. So this is a great way to go out and get some really neat gear at a savings. If you're interested in any of these, they also have some sound bars and compact smart speakers for sale. I see here the Denon Home 150 refurbished. That's normally $250 is for sale at $190. Definitely go and check these guys out. I'll drop a link right down in the show notes below. All right, folks, that's all I have for you on this week's edition of HTNR. Until next time, stay positive. I know there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world right now, and just focusing on the positive can take you so far. It's really important to do. And also, be kind to each other. We're all in this race together, and everyone can use a little bit more kindness. So until next time, I'll see you on the forum over at avnirvana.com.